Hi there. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Intuition, Your First Sense. This is Vicky. And this podcast often does come from experiences in my life and what I've seen in sessions and what I've learned over the 20-something years of being a coach. And the combination of our soul path mixed in with a human element that I so want to help people understand. And I debated about doing this one, albeit for only about half an hour, because there's no point in worrying something to death. Either do it or don't do it. And I get that that's my personality and maybe not everybody's personality, but it's something that I've learned to trust my own intuition on, that if I feel inclined to do something and I don't do it, it will become annoying, sort of like when the kids are like, mom, 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 mom. And you're like, what? And then they're like, hi. That's how intuition often works, right? That thought that won't leave your head, the impulse that won't leave you to have that conversation or to apply to that job or go check out that new store in town, whatever the case may be. And this one is a little... It's not a little close to home. It is close to home. It's absolutely an experience I had this morning with someone who's a trusted source in my life. And some information was brought to light of what other people think of me. And it just made me think, after having the conversation, that we're all capable of misperceptions. And that is because we're all living different experiences. We are all coming from past lives with some experiences. We are coming into this lifetime with our own wiring, our own personality types, our own soul's mission, and then experiences on top of that. So whereas someone like myself can go through the same exact experience, as like one of my siblings, we have different perceptions of it, and we come from different views, behind our own personal eyes and our third eye. And it's not an unusual circumstance, but as we were talking and clearing up some stuff that had been unsaid for a few years, the information that this group of people, at least some of them, believe that I don't like them. And yes, these are family members, because where else do we learn the best than through family of origin? And I thought, how fascinating is that I've been, for many years, decades, feeling like I just don't fit into this family. I've never... Well, I don't think I've made that a secret. I didn't really get it until I was older. And it's not that I wanted to act like I was above my family. My siblings are lovely people. I just didn't feel like I fit. And then through some circumstances, it felt like the data was returned to me that I didn't fit, because I am direct. And in my younger years, I didn't know how to do it with manners and with consideration for the other person, because I was just so hurt by other stuff that was happening in the family that reinforced to at least my subconscious mind that I didn't fit, that I was not part of this troop. And then my way of dealing with that over the years has been to line up with my personality, which is fiercely independent. And it's not because I don't want people in my life. And I'm realizing now that this is where the misperception comes in. Like, this person I was talking to said that she's afraid of me because I can be direct and to the point. So she was afraid if I really was mad at her, what would happen? And I actually stood my ground and I pointed out to her, when have I ever raised my voice? When have I ever thrown down with someone? I never have. So I'm proud to say I've never been in a fight. I got ambushed once, by someone I thought was a friend, but I didn't hit back. And you can say the tongue was a weapon of choice. It was. But you know what? I'm 52, and that was 30 something years ago. Families of origin need to release that too. So the misperception that's just been kind of rolling around in my head for the last couple hours since we had this conversation is that I've been thinking they don't like me because I am wired differently. We all are. And they've been thinking I don't like them for whatever their reasons are. I don't know. And it was said that some of it was because I am direct, and I'll say things like, I don't know why I chose this family. And I've said that on this show, which is also why I wanted to follow it up. When I say that, I'm truly perplexed. Like, I want to know. I want to know what my contract is with my oldest sibling, with my youngest sibling. I want to understand all of that. And yet there's a human in me that just does not want to be hurt anymore and doesn't want to be discarded anymore or thought of in that way without even being asked. Like, if there was altercations, if there were things where I could say, my goodness, yes, oh, geez, I was wrong about that, I'd be okay with that, because I think we have to show up and be accountable and apologize when it's authentically an apology. And maybe I've just had my head under the surface, under the ground. And if my family members listen to this and they think so, you have my cell phone number. I would like to have conversations about it. But I wonder if you haven't experienced that too, because we are all very similar. And as humans, we tend to walk similar emotions and we might have different experiences, but we can have similar feelings. And when I was thinking, no, you just need to process this yourself, Vic, and don't take to the airwaves, I thought, no, there's someone out there who's thinking their family doesn't like them and only has their perception. And maybe there's truth on the other side that needs to be brought up. Now, if you are in a family unit where people do not want to talk about it, well, then there's not much you're going to be able to do about that, because you can only bring your 100%. You can't worry about the percentage they're bringing. So yes, this could be frustrating. And I will follow up on this. By the time this airs, I will have made contact with all of my siblings to make sure they know I do, in fact, really like them. I love them as siblings. Even if we don't have a lot in common, I'm really not holding anything from the past. I have some recent experiences that I was very, very hurt by, and I need some time to work through that. And I think that's warranted. So by the time this airs, I will have made at least my effort to be able to say, oh, let's clear some of this up, because you just never know when you're going to croak. And while I believe we have contracts for that, you don't know. And I would feel remiss if I didn't follow up on this to at least say, please know that this is where I stand. They might think that I'm totally losing my mind because maybe they don't feel that way. And this other person is sharing information that they haven't thought of in years. But you know what? Doesn't matter. I want to clear up misperceptions. And I wonder if there are misperceptions going on in your life. And are there clarifications that need to be made? And as a caveat, I am not suggesting, if you've been in an abusive relationship with someone, that you have to go figure out what went wrong or make amends or anything like that. My intention here is to bring the idea that we can miss things and we can be so wrapped up in our own stuff that we're not quite understanding what someone else is going through. And our hurts can make us pull within. So for myself, I'll just put a barrier around me and you don't get to do that again. And I think boundaries are important. And I think knowing oneself well enough to be able to say, even if someone is family, no, that's not okay. And there will not be permission granted to be in my circle. It's really important. As a soul contract, you come in to whatever family raised you. So this does not have to be biological. They can be family of the heart, adopted, foster, and surrogate. However you got there, the delivery method is not important, but whoever raised you, you can bet that there was a contract there of some sorts. And being able to understand your portion of it can be freeing. The other person does not have to get it. And it could be a loving contract. Not everything is fraud. I actually think that we come in with the intention of learning through love, and then our human brains just aren't there yet. It's okay. We'll get there. Our hearts, our soul hearts, and our brain will sync up at some point and bring that power forth. And I see this a lot in coaching where people say that they feel like the odd duck out or the weird one or the one nobody gets. And I say celebrate that, because one of the awarenesses, and I haven't processed all of it yet, but one of the awarenesses I had during the conversation was this very sweet light that went through me that I know is spirit love. And I felt like, you know what, I'm okay. I'm okay if, in fact, they don't like me. We have to eventually get to the place where we're okay if other people don't like us, as long as we are liking ourselves and we are kind and we are doing our best at this human thing. So are there misperceptions going on in your life that you have to address, that you feel like you want to address even? Because the clarity of intuitive insight, it just helps when you dig into this stuff and you look at it. And there might be people who don't want to, and that's okay. That's their process. And they might not understand, and they might read it as you don't care about them, when you just realize that, no, I'm not going to be the perception you have of me or the projection you have of me. I am who I am.
Have you ever wondered where your soul is? How you can be in touch with it? How you can use it and communicate with it with your human senses as well as your intuition? I wondered this for a long time, and as I practiced and learned how to do it, I have now created a course that you can take that is self-guided, along with some live events with me that can help you to connect to your soul as well, and to use this amazing collaboration between your human self and your soul to empower your life, to create what you'd like to have, and most importantly, to be able to feel that you belong, that you are amazing, and then what would you like to do with that in the world? So head on over to the website, VickiBaird.com, check it out and sign up, and let me know if you need any help.
A part of my own feeling, my own soul feeling, that our family that raised us is here to help us learn lessons and to grow. And our soul families, or our heart families, are the ones that help us through those processes, and that help us to, exactly that, to process. Because let's face it, we're all coming from our own perception. And sometimes that needs to be enlightened by where we are at, and by the people around us, rather, and to help bring some clarity. And I know that our experiences, our knowledge, and our beliefs can help other people learn if they want to, but maybe they don't want to. And there's a sadness in that, and there will be a grieving or a mourning in that. But there can also be a freedom in that, in recognizing that, well, if this is where the resonance is, and there isn't a desire to know who I am today, or to ask me the direct questions, but rather communicate through others, well, then that's just not how I roll. So the acceptance that our family units may never look like what we want them to look like, that's not a guarantee. And it can be incredibly disappointing too. But you know what? I think if we're disappointed, it's on us because we've set a level or a pedestal for someone else that, you know what, maybe they weren't interested in even reaching. Maybe they didn't want to be on the stinking pedestal. Perhaps they just were trying to figure out themselves too. And that's part of acceptance. So look at any relationship you have. If there's some strife in it somewhere, even the fact that you just don't talk, there could be a misperception. And then it's an opportunity to have a courageous conversation and then decide from there if this person standing there in their flesh and in their belief systems and in this conversation are unable to hear you, see you, appreciate you, be with you, and recognize that you don't need their friggin' approval to be your amazing self. You don't. You need yours, the light of spirit running through you, and whomever that soul family is to support you as well. And I feel like there are a lot of people right now who are grappling with this because the frequency and the energy that we're in and heading into 2022, it will be important for everyone to take a look at their influences and to look at where they're not lining up in life, because the areas that you're trying to force will become awful. And I just think it's better to have that conversation of this just isn't in our highest interest, rather than let it get to resentment or anger or any of the other lower frequency vibrations, emotions. So heading into 2022, it's a year of clarity, and the information that I keep receiving from my guides is to set your course. Surround yourself with those who want to high five you, as Mel Robbins would say, that want to support who you are, knowing that they don't have to do anything about who you are. Like we're not interstitially connected. Like what I do should not be something that someone else has any kind of opinion or perception on, unless I've been mean, or cruel or anything like that. So it's not to say be independent so that you don't communicate with others. It's to say that the energy and the growth that we need in humanity is for each of us to know ourselves so well that sometimes our soul family and then our spirit family, meaning guides, angels, source, your faith, whatever the earth connects you, is what supports you. And to stop going to those looted stores. And while we are all in process as humans, we will bump up against this often, I believe, because as you grow, you realize what is and isn't in your best interest. And it's okay. It's more than okay to be there, because if you know yourself well and what resonates with you, you will then be able to shine your light out. You will be able to share your gifts. So as this will air in December and a lot of people are getting together in family ways, maybe just pay attention to the gifts that are there, as well as the ones that are not resonating. And I know people have had some tough times with the recent political scene and the pandemic, and then those that are stuck in their old ways of treating people, either through racism or I can't say homophobic, because you can't be afraid of someone because of their wiring, their gifts within themselves. So judgmental of people's lifestyle and their choices, the people that are there, it's created conflict within families too. But you know what? This is the great clearing out. And we are seeing people for who they truly are, and we need to pay attention. You know, as Maya Angelou would say, people will show you who they are the first time. Pay attention. And this energy is clearing things out. And it's not easy. And it requires us knowing who we are in essence. So if you commit to that by just asking yourself, what is okay with me? Can I say who I am and what I believe in and how I believe in to anyone in the family, to anyone in my circle, to anyone in the world? Once you can do that, the sense of self-surety, once you can do that, the love that will flow through you is absolutely amazing. And it's some of what I'm feeling today, because in hearing that others think I don't like them, I don't have to make that okay. But I can have compassion, and I can feel like I can clarify my perception on that. I can bring about some information that they may not have, and how and if they receive it is up to them. And they may decide to clear me out of their life, and that would absolutely be their prerogative. And I will still have love for the person, for the soul. I'm not completely without my humanness. But it has brought a level of compassion that I was there, but I wasn't willing to look at, because it made me feel vulnerable. It made me feel like I would acquiesce again and just be whoever they wanted me to be. And that's just not possible anymore. I don't want to. So I'm not going to. And pay attention to your friends that are super independent and act like nothing gets to them, because there are very deep wells there. And there could be some treasure down in those wells. My intention today was to encourage you to understand what the energy is universally that is supporting us in understanding who we are, but it is also creating a clarity of who you'd like to be around and who might like to be around you, and having those courageous conversations, and then just deciding, what the parameters are. Perhaps it's that you absolutely love the barbecues and the parties and things like that, but your confidants are your girlfriends or your partner or someone you've met since, or in my case, my kid. She's 29, but she's got the wisdom beyond my years. And when appropriate, I bounce stuff off of her. So that's an example of having someone that is in your soul chosen family, but also becomes your heart family. I do hope for you that you are surrounded by those who see you, who accept you, who embrace who you are, who don't need to change you. And that includes the ones that say, hey, you should know that these people think you don't like them, because it does help for growth. And when it's delivered in a way that is for healing, that is a gift. I wish for you a year of 2022 where the healing happens. And I'm sending you a huge Vicky hug. If there are relationships that need to be released, and the courage and the belief in yourself to do that, and all the blessings. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me, VickyBaird.com or at Coach Vicky Baird on all the platforms. And I really am grateful for all of you who listen, who give feedback. And even if you've never given feedback, your energy, I feel it. And you know what? That helps me to stand courageously in what doesn't resonate. And I really appreciate you being part of my soul family. And one day I hope to meet everybody and just express that gratitude, because for whatever I agreed to do in this lifetime, I have been blessed with the most amazing support. And that's the gift of today, right? There's always gratitude. I'm grateful for you. I wish you family healing. I wish you heart healing. And I wish you a joyous, joyous, joyous 22, because I do believe it is going to rock. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode. If this is something you feel would be beneficial to you, feel free to pop on over to the website, vickibaird.com, VICKIBAIRD.com, or at Coach Vicki Baird on all the social platforms.